But yeah, I think it's not too hard to pick up, especially because I played many games there last year.
Heading down to Arizona, what do you hope to what's the most important thing for you to get on this trip for the team?
Cool. I think just to continue doing what we're doing. I think we're really building a good fitness base, technical base. I think we look pretty sharp, aside from not having our legs here and there, and that's to be expected. We're in preseason. But tactically, we're really making strides. I think Paul is really positionally helping us out, and not necessarily saying this player is going to be here all the time. He hasn't locked that in, which is nice, because he's moving people around in practice, but just telling you, like, oh, you're right back. These are the types of things that we really want our right back to do. So just continuing to get that feedback and really having a good idea of where each player should be positionally. I think when we go back into the locker room after training, we all continue to have those conversations, and I think that's good. So just continue rolling with it.
You mentioned just you kind of touched on tiredness, and you guys are in 2 days, obviously. Paul mentioned that he always likes to have practice be hard, so that when you get to the game, it's almost easy. Do you feel like that's something that you guys are building with practicing so much that when you get to the game, it's almost easier and you feel like you can go out there and play?
Absolutely. I think game days, if you're going into game day and you're not feeling prepared in whatever, if it's physically or just like tactically not knowing what you're doing, if there's any doubt in your mind on game day, it's not a good sign. And I think that this year we really want to make sure that game day is easy, because we want to be fit and we shouldn't be struggling in front of our fans. If we're going to struggle, like, have it be when we're together and we can fix it in training,
Was that a problem last year, you felt?
Yes, I do. I think when we look back at our game tape, there were teams that were fitter than us, and we had moments of just where I feel like we were lacking confidence, and we finished the season well, and we had a great year, obviously, but I think that is something that we want to look back on and really focus on going into these game days, because we don't want to drop games at home. We don't want to drop games, period. We want to win out. But I think it was particularly disappointing when we looked back at game film of home games, and we just didn't look like we were playing very well, and we didn't look very fit. So if nothing else, our fans this year can expect us to be making runs in the 95th minute, whereas last year I don't think we had that.
Yeah, sometimes you see teams that are a little bit tight, they become fatigued, worn down. Do you guys feel like you were maybe a little bit tight, felt under pressure at home?
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of other teams came in here and they saw it as an opportunity to play in front of a bunch of fans, and I think we got a little complacent. I think overall we just weren't as prepared as we wanted to be.
You're talking about Paul's preparing you. Can you compare this year's training sessions, preseason training sessions, to what you experienced last year?
Well, obviously we're doing 2 days, and that didn't happen last year. But the intensity is a little bit higher, and I think that comes from our own player responsibility. Last year as a rookie, I didn't think, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I think I was a rookie, and I didn't have anything to compare it to. And so I think just working on building each year. I don't expect this to be the best year either, it's going to be leaps and bounds compared to last year because I have something compared to. But I think we're just focusing on doing what Paul wants us to do, and it's tough, but I think it'll pay off in the end.
Well, how do you personally approach a season after you had such a statistical success, unexpected statistical success, I think a lot of people would say, considering you were trialist last year? How do you personally approach setting expectations and setting goals for improvement for your second year?
I always like to play like the underdog. I don't pay attention if people are like, oh, you have so much pressure, and to me there's not pressure. If anything, it's pressure to make sure that I'm doing what I love. If there's a day I don't want to come to practice, then I'm kind of like, ooh, that maybe I have to make a decision, and then there's pressure. But for me, I love what I do, and I'm just happy to be here playing with my teammates every single day, and I just go out with kind of nothing to lose and enjoying it, embracing every moment.
How do you reconcile that underdog role with now being part of these national team camps?
I think it's the same when I go there. It's just my mentality in life. It is tough because I kind of like to fly under the radar a little bit, and it's hard when you have fans here in Portland that embrace you so much, but I just try and stay in my own zone, especially going into trainings, going into games. I try not to change anything up, and if I do find myself getting caught up in that sort of like what other people are saying or hierarchy, I guess, then I just sit in my little corner and meditate and keep it cool, get zenned out.
Like literally?
Literally, yeah. I love to meditate, and it's so funny because if I check Twitter or something and someone says something positive or negative and I feel it like change me or give me some emotional response, it doesn't feel right. I just feel like I need to come back and like find what is meaningful and keeps me centered. And when I'm in that place and I step out on the field and I'm in a good, I guess like in my own happy place, then I feel like that's when I play best, not when I'm trying to score goals for other people and trying to please someone else, I guess.
So when you're saying you fall back on what is meaningful for you? Outside
That is a loaded question. What's meaningful? Well, I think there are...
Didn't mean for it to be loaded, just kind of...
Yeah, no, I get it. There are a ton of things that are meaningful for me. Obviously, my family, and a lot of times I feel like soccer sometimes can distract you from that because it's such a demanding schedule. Like, I just had this argument with my sister because she wanted to get married on a game day, and I was like, are you serious? Like, come on, let's figure this out. So I guess every other aspect of my life that makes me happy and brings me joy, and that's family. I love to be outdoors and run and surf and do yoga, meditate. Those are all meaningful things. I also really love to read the news and find out what's going on around the world. And if I ever get frustrated in practice, I'm like, the people whose family members are missing on this Malaysian Airlines flight, like, those are the things that I literally bring into my everyday life. Like, I try not to get stuck here, because when I get stuck in any one place, then I can't really like appreciate everything that's going on. And if I'm upset because I just made a bad pass, I'm like, that pass isn't worth dwelling on, because there's so much more going on. And for me, I guess that's what keeps me in a good balanced place, is just seeing how this is just a small part of what's going on in my life and in everyone else's lives around the world, I guess.
Final question.
That was